Hey there, welcome back to my backyard. I'm Monty, and it's a beautiful summer day here on the southern plains in Oklahoma. Just a glorious day. We're gonna have highs for like 88 today, so it's a real blessing to be out here today. But today, we're gonna be showing you guys 5 easy, simple tips that you can do on a daily basis, and it doesn't take very long, to where you can keep your landscape project and always looking good and never let it pile up with a lot of work. So grab you a cup of coffee, stay with us, we're gonna show you some stuff. We all love gardens, but one thing all of us gardeners have in common is that we don't like weeds. So that means that you're gonna have to be diligent about getting out there and making sure that you keep your garden clean. And another thing is if you let weeds grow and they produce seed, that's just more weeds. So get in there and take care of the problem before it starts. I'll tell you, one thing I like to have is a gardener's bag. I mean, I love this bag. It's got all of my stuff in it that will fit in the bag, that is. And I always am able to keep up with it, and it keeps my tools handy. And tools make such a big difference. I mean, to be out there pulling stuff with your hands all the time just doesn't always work the best. And I'm just gonna show you another little secret of mine is my little kneeler. I mean, I like to don't wear jeans in the summer, so I don't like crawling around on my knees and getting mulch stuck to my knees and all that sort of thing. It's a lot more comfortable and easy to do. But I'm going to show you how to use a certain tool that I like, which is called a soil knife. And really on these weeds, it's going to be an easy lunch for the soil knife, but I'll show you how it works. This is a soil knife, and it's one of my favorite tools because it's strong. It's you know, you can get down in the ground and pry with it, and like I said, in this case, it's too easy for the old soil knife. But anyway, just to get out there and just quickly get underneath that weed and just work it a little bit, so you can just easily, you know, pull it out and get it out of the way. Just that way, you get the roots out of it well, and just see how easy that comes out. And then you're off to the other weeds. This one here, just another, once again, just quickly, just get it in there and you get it out by the roots, and it's not gonna come back for you. So just quickly going through those types of areas and everything keeps your garden clean, and it's easy to do. And in some cases, pigweed, I hate pigweed, I tell you, and that's one of those things right there that whenever it goes to seed, the next thing you know, there's pigweed everywhere. So get a hold of them early before they go to seed, like these little guys, and we're gonna get back around to them here in just a minute. Another thing is that you always wanna make sure that you have gloves, because sometimes these weeds, they don't like you at all. And they've got stickers, spines, and everything else on them. So, you know, just have a pair of gloves in your garden bag at all times, so that whenever you run across some of those kinds of weeds, that you know, they don't get thorns in your hands. Of course, we all know that gardens without water look more like deserts. So watering is always something that you've got to stay on top of, and you can't ever take a vacation from it. If you're going to be leaving and you've got pots and things like that at your house, make sure there's someone around there to water them. I mean, you know, we see people that buy a beautiful pot and then forget to water it, and then 2 days later, you know, they'd been better off not to have bought it in the first place. So you got to stay on top of things. And one thing I really like to do, for lots of different reasons, but the number one reason is because I feel like that the water's the healthiest, and it just, my plants in my pots just do so much better when I'm watering out of rain barrels. And you can get these rain barrels all in different sizes and shapes, different colors, and catch your water that comes off of your roof, and it makes it easy to get out there, especially in small areas where you don't have a lot of pots. I've got a lot of pots, but still, you know, having this and everything makes it easier sometimes than dragging hoses around and all that sort of stuff. And really, it's real simple. You know, all you do is what I do is I just put it down in there and fill it up, and then I'm off to the pots. And another thing I do is on pots and everything is I'll get a count. I count how many seconds of water is going on there, so that I don't overwater or underwater, and it keeps, and it has more consistency then too in how the you know, you don't have dry spots and wet spots and all that sort of thing. But I'll just put it on there like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-6 second count, I've got enough water on that plant to go all day. And then here's one like a tropical hibiscus that requires a lot more water and it blooms. You can see the other one over here, which we probably should be filming it. This one's sort of in between blooms, but on these, I just want to go in there and I just pour that water on them whenever I'm down to about 1.5 gallons in there. And this guy's going to be happy the rest of the day, especially on this beautiful Oklahoma day like we have today. Like I say, I like to use a watering can when I'm around my pots, and sometimes even on some smaller plantings that I've done, but you'll find out right quick that, you know, carrying water to the watering can where you need lots of water doesn't work very well. And so one of the things that I really like to do on landscape projects and everything whenever we're doing the irrigation system is to put in what we call a quick coupler, and it's below, you can see that it's below the ground, and you just have this little fitting that goes down in there, and then in order to get water, you just reach down in there and plug that thing. You get in, turn it on, get you a nice squirt in the face, and then you know you got water. I mean, where you can put down, you know, the amount of water that you need. One thing that you'll notice is that as you landscape and you do these kinds of things over time, boy, I got a nice splash in the face. As you do these things over time, you'll have plants that will have been established, and you'll need your sprinkler system, but not as often. And then you're always going to be adding to it. Landscape projects never cease. You're never going to start and finish and you know, at the same time. So there's always going to be additions to it. And sometimes you'll need to water the new plants and leave the old plants like they are because they're more established, they don't need as much water. But if you neglect the newly planted plants out there, you're not going to have very good success. So make sure that you take care of your watering situations and that you watch them. Don't overdo it. Don't waste water. Don't let it go running down the ditch. That just drives me nuts when I see people running their sprinkler systems and it's sprinkling, you know, or raining. So, and that's not good. It's not good for your water bill, number one. But secondly, you don't need that much water. So pay attention to what you're doing out there watering. Make sure you get good methods and stay with it. Of all the things we're going to talk about today, probably the hardest one to keep up with, honestly, and to really stay on top of, and that's deadheading. And Carol and I just got back from a trip out to Columbus to the Cultivate show, and in 1 week I can see here that you know, this plant needs a little bit of deadheading. This is Julia Child's rose, by the way, which is one of the prettiest yellow producing roses and hardest growers that I've ever seen. I mean, it just really does extremely well in the hotter climates, and it's just beautiful whenever you can see it sticking up out of there. And when this thing's all colored in yellow, it throws a contrast like nothing you can imagine. But this is Julia Child's rose. But I tell you what, whenever you are working on roses though, in any way, you might as well go ahead and get your gloves on, because I've tried it. I've tried to get out there and prune deadhead roses. Every time I end up with scratches and all that kind of stuff, and sometimes thorns, which, you know, you don't want that either. But the thing to do is, it's just real simple. You can see that here we've got pretty much spent blooms. Well, I want to go back in here to down this stem, down here to a point underneath this, about this third set of leaflets. Go in there and get a good angled cut on it. Make sure that you're using pruners that are sharp and sterile, you know, that don't have disease on them, so that you can spread. So, but it's real easy just to get back in there. Some of this shrub just needs a little bit more harder pruning back in here. See right there, I gotta even there. You need long sleeves, as a matter of fact. But going in and deadheading back and cutting these things back and everything will promote more blooms. You don't want to get in there and cut off a bloom that is still going to be coming on. And then just continually be in there cleaning that thing out. This thing smells so good. And stay on top of all your deadheading. Roses are the toughest because, like I say, they're rough on you. I mean, my favorite thing though, and I get a lot of enjoyment out of deadheading geraniums because I like to get back in there and find that perfect spot and snap that old bloom off. And it helps those geraniums just to continue to bloom. Okay, we're going to talk about pests in different forms. I mean, funguses, insects, sometimes even birds, I mean, can cause problems. Deer, but you'll know that you've reached some level of success whenever you get to the point to where you can use this type of a method to deal with problems, as opposed to having to go and spray a lot of chemical. And also, once you've got all that under control, you can use concentrated mixtures and everything, and then mix them and put them back into these bottles where, you know, you're paying for all of this stuff, and then keep it handier to where you're just doing small little things at a time. And it works so much better, and it's cheaper for you. But like while I just said a little while ago that we just left for a good spell and went on a road trip, and while we were gone, I see some black spot that's starting to come up on these roses. But with 3-in-1s like this Bear here, which I really do like because it has fungal control, it has insect control, but most importantly, it also deals with spider mites, which are the most, here in our area, and especially this time of year, it's just really one of our biggest problems is dealing with spider mites. So it works well on roses, on evergreens, and all different kinds of things. But then, you know, like I say, it's just, you know, really easy to get in here and treat this plant. And I guarantee you, by this time tomorrow, it's gonna look like a new guy. And you know, get it saturated good and around just that quickly. And I've fixed this rose for quite a while. So another thing too is that I'm going to show you some another thing to look at on periwinkles. Okay, like when we got back from our trip, one thing I came through here, and of course I'm anxious to make sure that all my watering and everything's been done right and all that kind of thing. Of course, looking at everything, and I looked out here and I see these periwinkles that are getting a little bit of a yellow tint to them, and for me, that's kind of the first thing I start looking for is spider mites. And so, and this is the trailing periwinkle. It's not meant to grow up like all your big ones and everything, so to come out over the pot. But once again, just to keep an eye on it and just give it a little shot. And you know, and then, you know, you may have to just kind of watch it for a few days and just kind of stay on top of it. But again, I sprayed this plant yesterday, actually, before when I got home, and I can already tell it's made a major difference in it. Another thing too is like on some of your hibiscuses and everything. Check out this guy. I mean, this is Autumn Breeze, I think, tropical hibiscus, and nothing quite like that as far as color. And I like to grow them in pots. You got to make sure you keep them watered. I'm telling you right now if you want this. But this just kind of helps this guy along, keeps things off of it, keeps the fungus down, and makes it easy to maintain and keep a good healthy plant. And so having this type of a little tool handy for you that, like I say, you'll know you've succeeded to the point to where you don't need a big hose-in sprayer or something like that. And I look here too, we've had some rain while I've been gone, and nutgrass, once again, kind of like spider mites, I hate it. But you can see here that I've got some of it popping up in the grass. Well, not a lot, but enough to bug me. So I've got another little container of this and a product that I use called Basagran, actually, one old-fashioned way. But to have something like that handy like this, you can just, this isn't it, but and you've solved your problem, you know, and it goes away, and it will kill the nutgrass. Of course, leave the Bermuda grass there in a good way. But having these kinds of tools handy and around your garden is just worth so much to you. Something that's always important, you know, you can do a lot of different things, have a healthy garden, but you want to keep it clean. I mean, you want to show it off, and so you got to keep it clean. And of course, you can get on major cleanup details whenever the neighbors are coming over. And but I don't like to do that even, because sometimes that means that I've been clipping on roses, and I don't know if you've ever done it or not, but where you've left one of them out there and you want to walk out through somewhere barefooted, and all of a sudden you get you a nice little surprise from a rose thorn in your big toe, which I can think of a whole lot more places that I'd rather see a rose thorn than in my big toe. But anyway, just clean up after, you know, sweep up the mess, make sure you get rid of stuff like this, get it all gathered up and get it down there and get it in the compost pile. This is the killer. These branches like that you cut, man, they will get you. And just make sure that you've gotten everything cleaned up and that your garden's tidy. It'll help you in so many different ways. Most importantly though, it makes it prettier. So anyway, we're really happy that you came and spent a little bit of time with us today, and we're going to be showing you a whole lot more stuff here in Monty's backyard, and we look forward to seeing you again. So hit that subscribe button and like it, and we'll keep bringing it to you. Thanks.